Today's Edpuzzle, you're going to continue practicing identifying the sentence patterns. This is very similar to what your test is going to look like next Tuesday. You have to be able to find the subject, the verb, identify what type of verb is being used, and then use that to help you find the complement. So we're going to continue with our study of Greek mythology, and we had read about the 100-handed ones, but this is their actual correct name. The Hecatonchires were enormous beasts with 50 heads and 100 hands each. During the epic battle between the Titans and the Olympians, the Hecatonchires fought their father Cronus with the Olympians. Their hundreds of arms and hands were helpful for hurtling rocks and boulders at the Titans. They gave the Titans a run for their money. We're going to go back to the first sentence, and we're going to start the way we always do, eliminating the extra phrases and words that we don't need. So there is one prepositional phrase in the first sentence, and I'm going to tell you that it has a conjunction in it, which means that you're going to have to make sure that you find the entire prepositional phrase. It's a little bit big. So the preposition is with, and the phrase goes with 50 heads, but then I see a conjunction, and they had with something else, with 50 hands and 100 hands, or 50 heads and 100 hands. So there's my prepositional phrase. I'm going to highlight it. I'm left with the Hecatonchires were enormous beasts. I'm going to look for my subject. Who or what is the sentence about? It's about the Hecatonchires. Now I'm looking for a verb. What is it saying about the Hecatonchires? They were. I know that's a verb, and it's a linking verb because we memorized it on our linking verbs test. Now I want to think about what complements are allowed to come after a linking verb. After a linking verb, you could have a predicate adjective or a predicate noun. And the key is that whatever word is in the predicate has to link back to this subject, the Hecatonchires. So the Hecatonchires were, now I see two words over here. Enormous looks like it could be an adjective. Well, it is an adjective, but I have to figure out what it's describing. So in this case, the Hecatonchires were enormous beasts. If it just stopped here and said the Hecatonchires were enormous, then that would be a predicate adjective. But here, it's describing the beasts. Oops. So now, I'm going to look, well, beast has to be my predicate word, and the beasts renames what the Hecatonchires were. So that's got to be a predicate noun. I know that with 50 heads and 100 hands each is a prepositional phrase, so I don't need to worry about that anymore. During the epic battle between the Titans and the Olympians, the Hecatonchires fought their father Cronus with the Olympians. I see 3 prepositional phrases in there, so let's go right back to the beginning and find the very first preposition. During is the preposition. During what? During the epic battle. Continuing on, I'm going to look for the next preposition that we had to memorize on our list, and that is between. Between the Titans, and then I get to another and, so it's between the Titans and the Olympians. I'm going to highlight that. And then there's one more preposition, or prepositional phrase, and that is with the Olympians. So getting rid of all of those words, all I'm left with for the sentence is the Hecatonchires fought their father Cronus. I'm going to look for what's the subject, who or what is the sentence about, the Hecatonchires. Looking for my verb, what did they do? They fought, and that's an action verb. I can see someone fighting, it's something that I could do. Now I look for the whom or the what. They fought whom or what? They fought their father. This is actually a mini appositive here. After father we have Cronus, gives his name. Because it's not a descriptive appositive, we don't need to put some commas in there, but father and Cronus are the same thing. So fought whom or what? Fought their father. Now I do see another word left in the middle of this sentence, there. So I want to go one step further and see, is there an indirect object? The hecatonchirous father, to whom or with whom, with their or to their. That doesn't make sense. The way there is being used here is as an adverb. And it's describing their father. On to the next sentence. Their hundreds of arms and hands were helpful for hurling rocks and boulders at the Titans. Going back to the very first part of the sentence, in order, we're going to find the prepositional phrases. The first one is of. Of what? Of arms, and I hit that conjunction again. Is it of something else? It's of arms and hands. I'm going to highlight that. You see another preposition. Don't be tricked. It's not were. I see for. For what? For hurling rocks, and I see another conjunction here. Is it for hurling something else? For hurling rocks and boulders. And I see one more. At the Titans. Now we got rid of most of the words there, and this one's a really good example to show you why it's so important for you to get rid of the prepositional phrases. It would be very easy to say that the arms and hands were helpful, but arms and hands can't be the subject because they have a job already. They are a prepositional phrase. So I've got to look outside of those phrases at what's left. Their hundreds were helpful. So hundreds is actually the subject. This prepositional phrase describes the hundreds what? Hundreds of arms and hands. Now I look for my verb. I know there's a linking verb here, were. I remember studying that on my list. And I think about what's allowed to follow a linking verb, either a predicate adjective or a predicate noun. I'm looking for a word that's going to go back and describe the hundreds or rename it. And I know that word is helpful, but now I have to decide, is it an adjective or a noun? So I can check, is it something that I can put the in front of? The helpful? That doesn't sound right. It must be an adjective. It's describing. Our last sentence, they gave the Titans a run for their money. There's one prepositional phrase in here. For their money. So I'm left with, they gave the Titans a run. Look for my subject, who or what's the sentence about? It's about they. What did they do? They gave. And that's an action verb. Now I have to think about, what do I look for next? I look for a direct object, and what do I ask to find it? They gave. Whom or what did they give? They gave the Titans, I could say, but that doesn't really make sense. You can't pick up and give a group of people. What is it that they gave? They gave a run for their money, and I see some words in the middle. They gave a run for their money. To whom or for whom did they give a run? To the Titans. So that must be my indirect object. Okay? All right. So if you had some trouble with doing this, or you still have some questions, it might be a good idea for you to watch it again. You can always go back and reprint this paper off and redo it again and watch the screencast. But this is very, very similar to what your test will look like next week. Once you're done with this, your choices are, going back to your plans for today, you may work on your research chart. You may work on your presentation for Wednesday. You may work on your Padlet, or you may silent read.